Have you ever had a time in your life where absolutely everything was falling apart and it felt like you could not catch a break? Have you ever experienced that? If you have ever experienced that, go ahead and put a yes in the chat for me. Go ahead and put a yes in the chat if you've ever dealt with that. Oh, okay, I see a couple of yeses coming in. Have you ever had to deal with something that you've never had to deal with before, to do something you've never even thought about doing before? And the very idea of it, oh my God, the very idea of it is so big, so hairy, so scary. You didn't know if you were even going to get through it. Have you ever experienced that? If you have, go ahead and put a yes in the chat. I see I got a lot of yeses here. I have a yes, ma'am. I have a yes from Carmen from Monroe. Excellent, excellent. Here's my third question. Here's my third question for you. Here it is. Ready? Considering everything that you have gone through, the ups and downs, the challenges, the hardships, considering all of that, did you survive? That's my question. Did you survive? Okay, all right, so I guess that's obvious. Of course you survived because you are still here. So that means you have survived disappointment. You have survived frustration. You have survived obstacles. You have survived unexpected challenges. And you survived all of this before 2020, didn't you? You survived before 2020 and you have survived 2020 as well. Do you know how I know? Because you're still here. That's right. You are still here. What does that mean? That means you did not drop out. You did not give up. You did not quit. You are still here. Here's what I want you to do. I need you to point to your virtual neighbor on the right side and said, you are still here. Go ahead and do that for me. No, seriously, go. You are still here. And your other neighbor, you are still here. Let's down. You are still here. And maybe you got someone here. You are still here. Yes, you are still here. And because you are still here, that tells me something about you. Now, I don't know you. I've never met any of you. Oh, but I know something about you. I know that you are resilient. I know that you are strong, that you are tenacious. I know that you know how to bounce back from adversity. I know this. That you already have tools. That's right. You have the tools that help you face the big, hairy, ugly obstacles of life and survive. Now, these are tools that you already have in your toolbox. But what I want to do today, as we look to 2021, right? We don't know what's coming. We don't know what's around the bend. Heck, we don't know what the job market is going to look like. We don't know what school is going to look like. We don't know what life is going to look like next year. We don't know what life is going to look like. It is uncharted waters. We are facing unknown. But here's one thing I do know. Here's one thing that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt. Here's one thing I know about the future. The future will have unexpected challenges. That's right. The future will require you to do things that you've never done before. The future will make you do things differently than you ever done before. You're going to do things that you cannot even imagine doing. The future is going to require a lot from you. And so as we move into the future, I want to give you a couple of extra tools, right? I want to give you a few more tools for your toolbox. I want to give you a few life hacks that are going to help you overcome the obstacles so that you can face the future with confidence. Is that all right? Can I give you a couple of tools? Let me see you nod. Let me see your heads nod up. Yeah, I can give you a couple of tools. All right, all right. So here are the tools. I need you to write this down. Decide, believe, take action. Go ahead and put that in the chat for me. Those are your three tools. Decide, believe, take action. I'll tell you a story. There was this woman. She worked as a legal secretary in a law firm in downtown Los Angeles. She and her husband had just bought their first house. Oh my God, they were so excited. And I got to tell you, this was a dog of a house. I mean, it was the worst house in the neighborhood, the worst house on the block, but it didn't matter because they were in love and because they had a plan. The plan was to add a second story. See, they needed the extra room for the children they were going to have. One day, one day they were going to have children. And so they needed that second story. Oh, they loved sitting around thinking about how they were going to decorate their son's room and how they were going to decorate their daughter's room. Oh my gosh, it was going to be great. Now, first step. First step in putting their plan in action was to take off the roof. Oh, and did I mention that this was in beautiful, sunny Southern California? Perhaps you're familiar with it, right? Where the weather is always a perfect 72 degrees, right? So they take the roof off the house, and what do you think happened? Go ahead and put in the chat for me. What do you think happened? They take the roof off in beautiful sunny California, and what happens? Go ahead and put that in the chat for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It rained, it rained, it rained. No, it didn't rain. It monsooned. I mean, the rain poured into their unprotected house for 3 days. 3 days. Their house, it was completely destroyed. And they were devastated. And when they confronted that contractor, he took absolutely no responsibility for the damage. And so they fired him right on the spot. And that may have felt good, but the reality was every dime they had in the world was invested in that house. And it wasn't just a house, you understand? This was their home, it was their future, it was their dream, and it was gone. And she and her husband and their dog were pretty much homeless, right? They were sleeping on the floors and on the couches of their friends for months trying to get this house together. And just when they thought it could not get any worse, what do you think happened? What do you think happened? Put it in the chat for me. What happened? Here they are thinking it could not get worse. What happened? It got worse. Exactly. It got worse. The contractor, if you remember, the contractor who took no responsibility for the damage, he sued her for a completion of project. Yeah, it's a thing. He wanted his money, even though he ruined his house. Can you believe it? I mean, so I just want to do a little inventory here. Can we do a little inventory? So first of all, she is penniless. Second of all, she is homeless. And now she is being sued. I'm telling you, when it rains, it pours. All right. All right. But she did have one thing going for her. She had one thing. She worked in a law firm. She worked for a partner, in fact. And she had been working with Tom for 3 years, and they had a very, very good relationship. So she goes to Tom to ask for help. Now she's expecting that Tom is going to give her the phone number of an attorney that can help her out, or take the case himself. That would be great if he would take this case himself. That's what she's expecting. That's what she's wanting. But that's not what happens. Let me tell you what happened. Tom walks her down the hall into the law library, tells her to read a book, write a memo, and handle the case herself. She looked at him like he was out of his mind. Handle the case herself. She's like, have you met me? Look, she was a legal secretary, right? She had a 2-year degree from a junior college in photography. She had great pictures of the house, but the idea of going up against a seasoned attorney who had a college degree, a law degree, and 10 years experience, there was no way she could do that. And with all that she had been through, all that she had suffered. All of her plans and her dreams ruined. And she didn't know what was coming next. And now Tom was asking her to do the impossible. And so she did what any respectable, mature woman would do. What do you think she did? Then put in the, yes, she cried. Now, come on. Can you blame her? Now, we've all been there. You know what she was feeling, right? When you make plans, you put in time, you put in energy, you put in money, you expect things to go a certain way, and they don't go that way. They don't go that way, and you have no idea what's happening next, right? You've been there. Well, that's exactly where she was. She was riding the fence between fear and faith, trying to keep moving forward, trying to keep that positive outlook, but things kept going wrong. And right then, right at that moment, Tom comes over to her. He puts his hand on her shoulder. He looks her in the eye and he says, I believe in you. I believe you can do this. And so now she finds herself in a very interesting place. On the one hand, everything in her life is falling apart, turned upside down, and she has to choose whether to give in, whether to surrender. I mean, wave the white flag or attempt to do this thing, this new thing, this thing she has never thought about doing before. She never imagined doing it. And right now, a lot of people are finding themselves in that exact situation. 2020 has brought us COVID-19. It's brought us lockdowns. It's brought us jobs have been lost, right? Houses have been foreclosed. Small businesses have been threatened. Schools have been closed. 2020 has brought us civil unrest on a global level and polarizing hostilities. Life looks a lot different than many of us planned. Yes, school looks a lot different than any of us planned. And we have no idea how things are gonna pan out in the future, right? No idea. Raise your hand if you've had some plans this year that didn't go as expected. Go ahead and raise your hand, your physical hand. Let me see it. Yeah. All right, very good. Raise your hand if you are wondering how things are going to work out in the future. Go ahead and raise your hand for me. How are things going to work out next year? Yeah, that's what we're all wondering. And like I said, I have 3 tools. 3 tools that I think will help. 3 life hacks for your life. 3 tools that can assist in overcoming adversity and facing the future with confidence. And they are decide, believe, take action. So the first thing is to decide. Webster defines a decision as determining or influencing an outcome. Here's the deal. You have the ability to determine, to influence the outcome of any situation. You have the power to influence any situation, right? So that means, what does that mean? That means if you decide that it's going to conquer you, guess what? It probably will. If you decide that you are going to fail, you probably will. I think it was Henry Ford that says, whether you think you will or you think you won't, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right either way. But on the other hand, if you decide that it will not get the best of you, that you will get the best of it, then you will probably win. The point is, you can influence any outcome by what you decide. I invite you to decide that the situation, whatever situation that you are facing, is not going to get the best of you. The next step is to believe. You have to believe that you have everything within you that you need to get through this and any situation. You have the power, you have the capacity, you have the ability to take on this and any other situation and emerge as a victor. How do I know? Because you've already proven. You've already proven that you're still here. I think it was Bruce Barton who said, nothing splendid has ever been achieved except by those who dared to believe that something superior was inside of them. Something inside of them was superior to their circumstances. And that's what I want you to understand. I want you to understand that there is greater inside of you than whatever circumstances you face. All right. And so the third step is to take action. Now, while deciding and believing are important, absolutely, you got to get started with that. But at the end of the day, you know what matters? Taking action. Look, nothing happens if you don't take action. And I'm not suggesting that you eat the whole elephant at once. As a matter of fact, how do you eat an elephant? Put in the chat for me. How do you eat an elephant? Does anybody know? Put it in the chat for me. How do you eat an elephant? Nobody knows how to eat an elephant? All right, no, that's okay, because you haven't had much experience eating elephants. I get it. Let me tell you how you eat an elephant. One bite at a time. That's how you eat an elephant. All right, so Brian Tracy says that when you are facing a new challenge, it can be overwhelming. And usually it is so much that it will stop a person in their tracks. Have you ever been there? Now look, the best way to achieve goals like that, the best way to do it is to break it down into smaller pieces and take one step at a time. He says that your ability to endure and to continue taking action step by step in the direction of your dreams, that is what will ultimately assure your success. So you absolutely have to take action, but you need to do it one step at a time. And I believe that if you use these three tools, decide, believe, take action, you might be surprised at what can happen. You know what? Let's go back to our secretary. All right, so there she is. She's in the library, blubbering like a baby, right? She's at this crossroads where she has to make a choice, right? She's got to decide what is she going to do, and here's what she does. She decides. That's the first thing that she does. She decides that this situation is not going to get the best of her, that she is going to get the best of it. The next thing she did is that she believed that she had the capacity. You know what? Actually, she didn't. She didn't believe that she could do that. I mean, she had never done anything like this before. But motivational speaker Les Brown says that sometimes you need to believe in someone else's belief in you until your own belief kicks in. Tom, her boss, he believed in her. You remember when he put his hand on her shoulder and said, I believe in you? And that was enough. That was enough for her to get started. You know what I'm saying? She latched onto his belief until her own belief kicked in. And finally, the last tool that she did, she took action. But I'm telling you, she didn't think about defending the whole case, standing in front of a judge and a jury. I know that would have frightened her to death. But look, Tom didn't ask her to do that. He didn't ask her to do all of that. All he said was, wait, do you remember what he said? What did Tom tell her to do? Go ahead and put that in the chat for me. What did he tell her? There we go. You got it. He told her to read a book and write a memo. Well, heck, she could do that. And so she did that. And then she moved to the next step and to the next step. And what do you think happened? Go ahead, put it in the chat for me. I want to know. What do you think? What do you think happened? She did it. That is right. She won that case. Man, it was amazing. The other side, the other attorney, didn't know what hit him. He totally underestimated her. He wrote her off. But you know what? She didn't know. He didn't know who she was. And realistically, neither did she. She didn't know. But they say that adversity introduces a man or a woman to themselves. Adversity introduces a person to themselves. So every challenge that you face will introduce you to the better part of yourself. So she won the case. She won the case, but baby, that's not the best part. It's not the best part. Should I tell you the best part? Do you want to know? All right. So the best part is that she was so inspired by that experience that she went back to school. She got her 4-year degree. She got her law degree, and she ended up working for one of the top firms in Los Angeles. And do you know what she's doing right now? Would you like to know what she's doing right now, Chapman University? If you want to know what she's doing right now, go ahead and put yes in the chat for me. What is she doing right now? I hear yes, tell me. Woo, I want to know. I want to know. I'll tell you what she's doing, Chapman University. She's standing before you right now. This is my story. This is how I became a lawyer. And look, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is how I became a lawyer, and I am thrilled, delighted that my life took this turn. I'm thrilled now about what that challenge did to me, but I gotta tell you, to be honest, in my darkest hours, I didn't know what was gonna happen. In my darkest hours, I didn't know that any good would ever come out of it, but it did. My darkest hours led to a very bright future. See, here I thought I was adding a second story to my house. I ended up adding a second story to my life. And right now is a very interesting time. It's a tough time for many, and it might be a tough time for you, right? You might be confused, you might be worried, you might be scared out of your wits, right? But I say this, everything you're going through right now, everything that you are going to go through is just preparation. It's just preparation for the second story of your life. It's preparation for the next level, for a whole new you. And so I just explained to you how I applied those 3 tools: decide, believe, take action. And so what I want to do is I want to share how you can apply them to your own life. Is that okay? Can I share that with you? Are you interested? If you are, just put a yes, yes in the chat. Put a yes, yes in the chat. She says, bravo, plot twist. I love it. Heck yes. Excellent. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to start from the beginning, right? First step. What was the first step? What was the first tool? Put that in the chat for me. What was the first tool? Yes, the first tool was decide. So, motivational speaker Tony Robbins, he says that it is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped, right? And so when new challenges arise, Tony Robbins says you have to ask yourself 3 questions. You have to ask yourself 3 questions. Question number 1, what are you going to focus on? Question number 2, what does it mean? Question number 3, what are you going to do? And the beauty is you get to decide the answer to all of those questions. You get to decide what you're going to focus on. You get to decide what it all means. You get to decide what you're going to do. Now, in my situation, I had a choice of what to focus on, right? I could absolutely focus on my fears, and baby, I had a bunch. I could focus on my fears. I could focus on my insecurities. I could focus on my shortcomings. I mean, I spent 6 years in junior college. 6 years in junior college, and I walked away with a 2-year degree. All right. So I'm thinking, how am I supposed to do this? I'm thinking, what happens if I go in there and I say the wrong thing? If I do the wrong thing, what happens if I look like a complete idiot? What happens if I embarrass myself? I could have focused on the fear and let that stop me. Here's a question. Have you ever focused on the fear and let that stop you? Yeah, I could focus on the fear. I could also focus on the problems. Look, there were plenty of problems, right? Let me remind you, she was penniless, she was homeless, and she was being sued. I mean, everything was falling apart. They were sleeping on the couches of their friends, working full-time jobs, going to the house in the evenings to try to do things because they had no money, so they had to do it themselves. I'm just saying that this is not the kind of situation that fills you with confidence. Yes? I could have focused on my problems and let that stop me. Have you ever found yourself focusing on the problems? Yeah. I could have decided to focus on the fears or focus on the problems, or I could decide to focus on a solution, even if it was a big, hairy, ugly solution. But I had that choice. So my question to you is, as you sit in this moment facing whatever it is that's coming, and we don't know what's coming, what will you decide to focus on? The next question Tony Robbins asks is, what does it mean? So whenever we have a situation, we get to choose the meaning of that situation. What does it mean? Does it mean all is lost, or does it mean that you just need to find another way? Okay, so here's one of the things that I learned in law school, okay? I learned that there were 3 sides to every story. I know you heard that there were 2 sides to every story, but I'm just telling you, in the law, there are 3 sides to every story, right? There is the plaintiff side, there is the defendant side, and then there are the facts. Plaintiff side, defendant side, and the facts. And guess what? The only truth, the only thing that is real are the facts. Everything else is an interpretation of the facts. Yes, the plaintiff is deciding what those facts mean. The defendant, they are deciding what those facts mean. That is it. And we get to do the exact same thing in our lives. There are the facts. That's the only thing that's real, right? When things don't go as planned, those are the facts. Are they good or are they bad? You know what? It's up to you. You get to decide what meaning you want to give to the facts. Now, the third question that Tony Robbins is asking is, what you gonna do, right? What are you going to do? Because you have a choice. Oh yeah, you always have a choice in the matter. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna give up? Are you gonna give in? Or are you gonna get going? Winston Churchill once said that when you are going through hell, keep going. That's not a place that you want to stop. It is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. And you have already made some pretty significant decisions this year, right? You already decided not to give up. You already decided not to let this derail you. You've decided to keep moving forward. That's why you're still here. You've decided to go ahead and make it to the finish line. And I want you to know, in making those decisions, you are shaping your destiny. So my simple suggestion is, don't stop. Don't stop. As the challenges come, don't stop. As the plans get derailed, don't stop. As you face your fears and your insecurities, I'm saying don't stop. Don't stop deciding, right? Don't stop deciding what you're going to focus on. You know, are you going to focus on the problem? Or are you going to focus on the possibility? Decide, what meaning are you going to give to the situation? Does it mean that I should give up, that all is lost? Or does it mean that I need to find another way? What does it mean? Don't stop deciding what you're going to do. You're going to give up? Are you going to get going? So that is decide. I see get going in there. Get going. I love it. Go ahead and put that in the chat. If you're going to get going, go ahead and put get going. You're going to get going. I love it. I love it. You're going to focus on the possibilities. Outstanding. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So let's move on to the next tool. The next tool is to believe. Now look, I mentioned to you before, in the moments, I did not believe. Mm-mm, absolutely not. I did not believe that I was capable of handling a lawsuit. I mean, I'd never done anything like that before. I knew I didn't have the experience. I knew I didn't have the education. I just didn't think I could do it. But here's what I learned. What I learned is that you don't know what you are capable of doing until you accept the challenge. Belief is about accepting the challenge. And see, Tom challenged me or encouraged me to accept the challenge, to believe. He encouraged me to believe that I could do something that I had never done before, something I had never thought about doing before, something I don't know that I even wanted to do before. But based on my background, it seemed impossible. But he encouraged me. He encouraged me to accept the challenge and to believe in myself. And in doing so, I discovered I was more capable than I thought I was. And I say the same thing about you. You are capable of more than you know. You have already overcome a lot, right? You have already accomplished a lot. But let me tell you this, and I need you to listen close. Whatever it is that you think that you have been through, whatever it is that you have accomplished so far, I'm here to tell you it is just the tip of the iceberg. That's it. It is the tip of the iceberg. Baby, you are just getting started. I need you to put that in the chat. I'm just getting started. Again, put that in there in the chat, because baby, you are just getting started. Put that in the chat. I'm just getting started. Excellent, excellent. Just getting started. That's right. That's right. All right, all right. But it all starts with a belief in what's possible. Yes, a belief in yourself. And what is a belief after all, right? We have lots and lots of belief, but what is a belief really? I'll tell you. At the end of the day, a belief is nothing more than a thought that you repeat over and over and over again. It can be a negative thought, it can be a positive thought, but it is just the thought that you repeat over and over again. And when we repeat these thoughts over and over again, we begin to believe these thoughts. And when we believe these thoughts, that is what directs our lives. My mentor once said that the way we live our lives is according to what we believe about ourselves. So here's my question. What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe for yourself? And are those beliefs holding you back, or are they moving you forward? Yes? But here's the deal. If a belief is just a thought that we repeat over and over again, that means we can change that belief by changing the things we repeat over and over again. When my son was going into 6th grade, he was very anxious and very insecure. And I told him, baby, you are one of the smartest kids in 6th grade. And at first he protested. He said, no, I'm not, Mom. You don't know that. But I kept telling him over and over again, you are one of the smartest kids in 6th grade. Eventually his answer was, do you think so? Then his answer was, I know. And at the end of 6th grade, let me tell you, his response was, well, of course I am. And he proved it by bringing home 7 A's. I told him a story, a thought, and I repeated it over and over and over again. And eventually that thought became a belief, and that belief became his reality. If a belief is just a thought that we repeat over and over again, that means that we can change our beliefs by changing the things that we repeat over and over again. Here's my question to you. What is it that you are saying to yourself about yourself over and over again? What are you saying? I'm not smart. I can't figure this out. This is too hard. I'm not good at relationships. I'm never going to get a job. I can't figure it out. What are you saying to yourself? over and over again. And so you might be saying, oh, Star, I know I'm just kidding. I don't really mean it. Oh, but your subconscious does not know that. Remember, what you say over and over and over again becomes what you believe. And what you believe is what you become. And so I invite you to pay attention to what you are saying to yourself over and over again. I invite you to pay attention and to catch yourself when you're saying something negative. I invite you to switch that up. I invite you to find some positive thoughts that you can repeat over and over and over again until that becomes what you believe and that becomes what you live. So here's what I want you to do right now. We're going to take a little break. We're going to take a little break. Here's what you're going to do. No, you're not going to take a break. I'm taking a break. You're going to work now. I need you to write down 5 positive things about yourself. Do that right now, please. I need you to write down 5 positive things about yourself. And you cannot say things like, I'm a good daughter, or I'm a good sister, or I'm a good friend. I don't want to know who you are in relation to other people. I just want you to put down 5 positive characteristics about you. You have 1 minute, go. The next thing is to take action. Now I gotta tell you, deciding, oh, that is wonderful. Believing, man, believing is awesome. But when it's all said and done, you gotta take action. And why is it that people don't take action, right? Something comes up, you face a challenge or something you weren't expecting, and you're like frozen, right? Like a deer in the headlights, and you can't move forward. Why is that? I'll tell you why. Because a lot of times people feel that they can't move forward, they can't take an action until they have everything worked out, right? I need to know all of the steps involved, like everything. Here's the deal. Most of the time, you're not going to know all the steps. And if you wait until you know all the steps, you will never get started and you will be left behind. Yes? You don't know all the steps because all the steps haven't been created yet. It's the kind of thing where you create the steps as you walk. As you walk up the staircase, the steps come. What you need to worry about, what you need to focus on is the next step. That's it. Sometimes it's just the first step. That's it. That's all you have to worry about. Oprah says that you just need to take the next best action. And here is a speaker called Steve Gargio. And he says that everything in life that's hard is really just a series of steps that are easy. Everything in life that seems hard is really just a series of steps that are easy. You just have to take the first step. Now, when Tom suggested that I handle the case myself, I was terrified. I mean, the thought that I'm going to walk into a courtroom, really, me with my AA degree in photography, I'm going to walk into a courtroom in front of a judge and a jury, and I'm going to defend my case. Are you kidding me? The only time I had been in a courtroom was for jury duty. But here's the deal. Tom didn't ask me to do all of that. He didn't ask me to do that. He just asked me to do 2 things, right? Do you remember? He asked me to do things. No, he asked me to do 2 things. He said, read a book, write a memo. That's it. Read a book, write a memo. And look, the book was called How to Write a Memo. That was it. It was how to write a legal memorandum of points and authority. That's it. Read a book, write a memo. That's all he told me to do. And, I could read and write. And so I could handle that first step. And that's what I did. If he had told me about the big, hairy, ugly goal, I don't think that I would have gotten started, right? It was too scary. And so all I did was focus on the first step. And look, I didn't see the whole staircase. I didn't even know what the whole staircase looked at. All I knew was I was taking this step. And then I did what he told me to do next. The big, hairy goal was broken into steps and steps that I could take and keep moving forward. And in the end, I accomplished the big, hairy, ugly, scary goal. Look, everything in life that is hard is just a series of steps that are easy, but you have to take that first step. Look, if you want to achieve anything in life, when you are beset with obstacles, when you face those unexpected challenges, you have to decide, you have to believe, and you have to take action. But you don't have to do it all at once. As you face the big, ugly, hairy goals in your future, remember, break them down into steps, into little bite-sized pieces, and take it step by step. You got it? If you got it, I need you to put in the chat, I got it. Go ahead, put that in the chat for me. Put, I got it. Excellent, excellent. All right, all right, all right. So you got it, you got it, you got it. Excellent. So look, in order to add a second story to my house, I had to take off the roof. And it was messy and dirty and filled with unexpected challenges. But at the end of it, I had my dream house, right? And adding a second story to my life, it was messy and dirty and filled with challenges. But in the end, I emerged a better and stronger person, and I tripled my income. You know, that's not bad. That's not bad for an obstacle. And I think that the same is available to you. Look, 2020 has been a messy, dirty year. It has been filled with challenges, but I think that we are better off, that we are better and stronger because of it. And as we face this next year, and we don't know what's going to happen, but we can bet that it's going to be messy, it's going to be dirty, and it's going to have challenging moments. But you already have the tools to overcome these adversities. You had those tools when you came here tonight. And I've given you three additional tools. Put in the chat what those additional tools were, please. What tools did I give you tonight? Go ahead and put that in the chat for me. There you go. There you go. I see it. I see it. That is right. Decide, believe, take action. Decide that this situation is not going to get the best of you, that you are going to get the best of it. Believe that there is more inside of you, that you have the power, the capacity to overcome this obstacle and any obstacle, and take action. Take action on that big, bold, hairy, scary goal. Take action, but take action one day at a time. My name is Star Bobatoon, and I invite you to embrace your inner light and to be the star you were born to be. Thank you for your time.